Ooh,
Go ahead.
okay, great. Take it away. Yeah, just hi everyone. So nice to see your faces. Oh, I'm spotlit now. Okay. Yeah, so when Arena first approached me about potentially doing this event, I was really excited because it's literally the perfect event for this time, for two reasons. Well, for a lot of reasons. One, flowers are amazing anytime. Um, but so Passover, this holiday that we're all about to start, one thing it's called is Chag HaAviv, which means the festival or the holiday of the spring. And so what better way to kind of bring that interpretation in than flowers? And part of what's so special about Passover is it's like this time of renewal, of blossoming. And so we're really kind of being very literal and taking that and really working with blossoms and flowers. The other reason I love it is this idea of called Hidur mitzvah, which is this concept in Judaism that's all about beautifying the mitzvah. So it's not just about like doing the thing, but it's about making it beautiful. And so what we're all about to engage in is this act of Hidur mitzvah of making our Passover tables even more beautiful with flowers. So maybe this feels like a break for some of us from our Passover preparations, but actually this very much is a very special part of Passover preparations, of putting that time in, of making it beautiful, of bringing in the spring and the freshness and all of that. So this is great. I'm so glad that you're all here doing this. I'm so glad that Arena agreed to do this. And yeah, very, very Jewish as well. So there you go. So I'll pass it over to you.
Awesome. Cora, do you want to say something, or should I just go ahead and start?
No, you go ahead. I'm here for
Okay.
any back end help. If anybody has any questions, feel free to write them in the chat and I can shout them out to Arena.
Perfect. So thank you everyone for joining. I'm very excited to do this first workshop with Beth David. And my husband and I have been members for some time, and his family has been members with Beth David for a really long time. His father was a president, his grandfather was a president. So Beth David is definitely like, we feel like it's part of our family as well. So I'm very happy to do this today with you. And today we're making a centerpiece in a vase. And I chose the darker one because it will make the flowers, the white colors, look brighter and freshen up the table. And I feel like white and green palette is a very classic one and would fit nicely in any interior. So hope you guys like the flowers I chose. And so for hydrangeas, they do like a lot of water. So we will need to fill up the base we need to put quite a lot of water for them to hydrate well. And if overnight you've noticed that your hydrangeas look a little dull, you can dump them in the bucket with cold water, just head down for 10-15 minutes and it should refresh them. So I know some of you have questions about what other flowers we have here. So these little berries are called hypericum, and they come in lots of colors: green, red, white, pink, like literally any color. Then I have some carnations, which is also a very popular flower, and you can find it anywhere. So basically I try to take the flowers that you can find anywhere in any store, so you can recreate this yourself whenever you want it. And also we have white roses and Israeli ruscus. I thought that Israeli ruscus would be very symbolic, so that's why I chose that one. So for the flowers, first things first, we will need to clean all the flowers and prepare them to work. So you might have noticed that your flowers came with leaves on them. So what we need to do is remove all the leaves. You can just like snip them. You can use the scissors to cut them, whatever you prefer. And I believe hydrangeas, yeah, we already cleaned all the hydrangeas. Usually they have pretty big leaves that look really pretty, but they take a lot of water from the flower. and that speeds up the process of flower aging. So that's why you won't see any leaves here. So let's take a couple minutes to clean all the flowers. So remove all the leaves from Hypericum. And if you have any questions, you can like unmute and probably ask them while you're doing that. My Hypericums have already been cleaned by the girls that work for me. I forgot to tell them not to clean them. But also we need to clean the rose. So remove all the leaves from it. Just put them aside and you can put the flowers back in your vases. Okay, and I'm just gonna, yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And also, yeah, I will clean the flowers as well.
Do you clean the leaves off of the carnations too?
So those we can, but they're very small, so we might as well just do it later when we're working with them. So it's not necessary.
What did you call the tall green leaves?
These guys?
Yeah.
It's Israeli Rascus.
Could you spell the last part?
It is R-U-S, I believe K-U-S. Or it would be C-U-S. I'm not sure. I don't write it very often. But you can find it anywhere. They're like in any flower store. It's a very popular greens.
We have a question about damaging the flower by pulling them off. I'm assuming that's asking about pulling the leaves off, but Elisa, if you wanted to clarify.
Sorry, yeah, I'm just some of them, like when you're yanking them off, can you do any damage to any of the flowers, especially as you get closer up to the bud? Or to the actual flower part, I mean?
Just try to be gentle. You may do that. Yeah, it can happen. And usually, like with roses, for example, right? If you see that some of the leaves, like petals look dull, you can just take it off. It's carefully take them away, and that's fine. Roses have this layer of petals that protects the inner ones from damage, so it's fine. You can just take them off. And for not carnations, for hydrangeas, if you see that also some flowers get a little brown, that happens over time, you can also just like snip with your fingers or scissors that couple of flowers, and that's also totally fine. Okay, so just let me know, guys, how you're doing when your flowers are all processed, so we can continue. Also, maybe I'll switch to the gallery view so I can see most of, yeah, that's actually much better.
We have another question. Do we clean the leaves off if we are leaving the flowers with a long stem or only when cutting them very short?
Well, the way I do it for my arrangements, I usually just remove all the flowers from everything, and I use greenery to add the like greens to it. So I would say just remove everything. It's easier to work with flowers when they're clean than like trying to do it on while you're working with it. I usually like don't use roses with a few leaves left on them when I put them in the arrangement, because they look different in the arrangement and they also might get brown sooner. So you don't want that look in your vase. Okay, so yeah, my flowers happen to be all clean. Looks like you guys are doing great. Okay, I think that most of you are getting close to the end of cleaning the flowers. So I'm gonna continue next. So the next step for us would be to, okay, let's do the greens. So now you see that we have a very long stem with greens in baskets, and we don't need it to be as long. What we can do, we can actually divide it into 2 sections that we will use. So we get more like larger volume of greens, and that will help us with our construction when we're assembling them. So you can basically just divide it like by 2 and cut it above the leaves. So basically here, and then you can see that now we have 2 pieces that we can eventually put together, and it will create the base for our arrangement. So we will need to remove the lower leaves though, just leaving the half top, because another thing that's important is that you don't want leaves in your water, because when the water, the leaves are exposed to water, that speeds up the process of bacteria growing, and that actually makes the water dirty faster, and your flowers as a result go bad faster as well. So yeah, basically we need a bunch of little guys like this, and you can just leave them out on the table. You don't have to put them back in the water. There is some preparation, but after that, it will be fun. So I can even cut it. Yeah, cut it here. And then remove the bottom leaves. Don't need them anymore. Yeah, this one is okay. And we do it with all our leaves. Okay. Yeah, sometimes you might only have a few leaves left, but we need this to create the structure. So even if it's a couple leaves left, that's totally fine. Okay, how are you guys doing? Looks like everyone is doing great. Feel free to ask if you have any questions. Now you can see that we're actually getting a much bigger volume of greens that we can use in the arrangement. So we are getting rid of some leaves, unfortunately. Okay, looks great. When you guys are getting ready to be done, just wave or let me know so I know if I can proceed. Awesome. So it looks like the majority of you are almost done with this step. So next we're starting to arrange the flowers. First of all, we need water that we need to fill the vase with. Hope you all have water handy. If not, just feel free to run to the sink and fill it up. And we need like about this much. So I guess it's close to 3/4 of the vase.
What temperature roughly?
Cold to room temperature is fine as long as it's not hot. And I need some more water. Okay, perfect. And also, if you haven't used the flower food for your flowers when they arrive, you can also add it here. And that will also help to rehydrate them and for flowers to stay fresh longer. So it would be, 1 bag should be enough for this volume. So if you have 2 unused ones, you can use the second one later on, like before your dinners, to make sure the flowers look good and fresh. And we need to mix it really well. Okay. Okay. Once we have water ready, we can start placing the flowers in the water. And first of all, we start with our greens. Placing it on like crisscross. So the stems at the bottom are actually crossing, because that way it will create this net of flowers that will support the rest of the flowers. And usually, since I don't use any foam in my arrangements, because it's really bad for the environment, and my approach is eco-friendly, so I either use freehand vase arrangement style, like we're doing right now, or chicken wire, or just hand-tied bouquets, because I really want to eliminate that waste created by the industry, and I really don't want to contribute it to our environment. I want my son to grow up on a healthy planet. So that's why we need to create this net, and just keep adding it. I can rotate. So you basically add it on different sides. Trying to create this ring. And if something needs to be moved later on, we can always just take out 1 or 2 and replace them in a different spot. Okay, so now we have this bed of greens, and we can start with our hydrangeas. As I said, if you see that some flowers are getting a little dark, you can just remove them, and that would be fine. And with hydrangeas and other flowers, when we're about to place them, we don't cut it before we measure, because you can always cut a little more, but you can't grow it back. So let's put it next to the vase and just see approximately how tall you want the flower to be. I would do it sitting closer to the bottom of the to the top of the vase. So let's say I need to cut approximately this much. So I cut it. Oops, I'll pick that up later.
Wait,
And you can.
How many inches was that? Was that approximately 3 inches?
Well, it really depends on how tall the hydrangea, because they all came in different heights. Just see, so it's about like a little higher than the vase when it's cut, right? And then you can also split it a little bit at the end. That also can help it drink more water. And then we place it also on an angle, trying to get in between the leaves, and kind of so it hooks up to those, hooks onto those leaves like this. And I think I cut it. Okay, it could be a bit lower, but we'll see how that goes. You can always take it out, cut it shorter, and replace it.
Did you put it in below the greenery, like closer to between the green and the edge of the vase, or did you put it in between the greenery?
I kind of seated on the greenery, so greenery supports it, and it really depends on like the way you want to do it. If you see that it starts to fall out, you can cut it a little shorter and just like tuck it in. Yeah, so really doesn't have to be on top of the greenery or between it, whatever look you prefer. And then we do the same with the rest of our hydrangeas. So we measure, we cut, we split the end. And we place it. And you can also look at the hydrangea itself, the way it like falls apart, and see which end you want to be hanging over, or if you don't want it to hang, you can just turn it around the way you want. And also try to do it like cross it with the other hydrangea and the rest of the flowers. So I think that I can even cut it a bit shorter. It looks like it's a little bit too tall. Just a little bit.
Could I see that next to the vase one more time for measure?
Yeah.
So it's basically
see?
the length, the stem is basically the length of the vase, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. And then after that, you can see, like, you can place it in the vase and see how it sits. If you like the way it sits, you can keep it. If you want it shorter, you can always cut it shorter. And also just try it. You can place it, yeah, between the greens, just making sure that it holds its place. Okay. Okay, and we have one more room here. We have some room for one more hydrangea. So it will be a loose arrangement. It won't be like seen very firm, but as long as it doesn't fall out of the vase while it's sitting on the table, it's all good. This is a very airy style. And I can see that some of my greens are out of place, so I can just take it out, put it in a different spot. And now we're at our third hydrangea. So same thing, you stand it, you measure it, you cut it. Basically, yeah, the same height as the base. You split the end and you place it in. Yeah, and here mine is falling out, so I can either try placing it between the flowers, or I can cut it a little shorter. And actually it looks pretty good when I just change the angle. And you can see that our stems that we cut in the greens, some of them might stick out and it doesn't look very nice. So you can just take scissors and cut it a little bit more, so the end is not coming out of the arrangement, and just place it back in the same spot. And now we just have the leaves. And you can always fix hydrangea to make it a little fluffier, a little more airy. Can rearrange some leaves so they look prettier. Okay, how are you guys doing? Looks good. Anyone has any issues? Do you want me to suggest something? Looks like you guys are all doing great. Perfect. So we have our hydrangeas in place. So next step, we can start with placing the flowers, the smaller flowers. And I think that we should start with the rose. Since we have only 3 roses, we can put it in 3 different spots, or up to you. You can also put them all together and do a grouping, which is also a very popular style in floristry. I often in my arrangements, I put groups of flowers, like 3 or 5 flowers, depending on the size of the arrangement. So it's all up to you and whatever you want it to look like. But it's the same idea. We take the rose, we measure it according to the base, and you want, with that, rose will probably go on an angle if you're putting it on the side. So you want to leave it a little bit longer than the base. Okay, and then we can even put it in the middle of the hydrangea. Just gently open it up. And there you go.
How do you cut it if you're putting them together? Taller?
You mean if you put 3 of them?
Mm.
Depends. Again, depends if you want them to stick out or if you want them to be like deeper in. It depends on like how big you want the arrangement to be. It's very individual. So let your creativity take over. Okay. I'll fix this guy. Okay. Then I'm gonna do the other rows. And one more. Okay. So I have all my roses in. Okay, and you can always fix hydrangea if you don't like the way it's sitting. Like I'm not happy about mine now. Just gonna turn it around. Okay, this is better. Okay, so and then you can just take carnations and again either spread it out or put 3 and 2 in a spot. Totally up to you. Same thing, you measure whichever way you want it to be, either deeper in or if you want it to stick out a little, and you cut and you place it in the arrangement. Gonna put a couple in the center because they have a little gap there, so they will perfectly close it up. And if your carnations are a little closed up, they will open up, but you can also help them by just gently spreading out the flowers, the petals. Okay. Looks nice. Oh, wow, looks great. I can see some of your arrangements. You guys are doing great. I feel like you didn't even need my guidance.
Irina, we'd love to hear how you got into the floral industry if you have some time to talk about that.
Oh yeah, that was, I guess, accidental. My background is international business, project management, and I actually did Masters of International Business in San Francisco, where I met my husband, and then we moved here. And after working for a few years as a project coordinator, I really felt like it wasn't fulfilling, and it just didn't give me any pleasure from like emotionally. So when my son was born and I was on mat leave, I was thinking, what would I do with my time? Whether I should go back to my previous job or do something else. And my friend, who is a florist and has a successful flower store, needed some help with her social media. So I helped her there. And then while doing that, I also worked with some flowers. And and a few years back then, before that, I went to Moscow to see my family, and also did a flower workshop there. And it was a 3-day training on flowers, basically everything you need to know. And but I didn't really use that, and I forgot that. So after working with my friend, I remembered how much pleasure and excitement it brought me to work with flowers and bring people joy, to see their excited faces when they pick up the flowers and when they share it. So yeah, I thought that I would give it a try, and I started a flower company a little while ago to do flower crown set events, and it was okay. But after COVID, obviously there wasn't any. Once COVID hit, there were no events, so that didn't go well. So after working with my friend, I was like, okay, why don't I try making a few arrangements? And I really enjoyed it. So I started my FLWR Point. But again, since she's a regular florist and she does beautiful creations, I really love her work, but she does it a very traditional way. She uses lots of foam, lots of plastic wrapping. And while working there, I realized how much waste it creates, even from the purchasing and supplier. Suppliers give so much plastic as well. And then when we add as florists foam plastic wrap, that's just a crazy amount, and it doesn't biodegrade, right? So yeah, at that point, I decided to go a different way and do an eco-friendly flower approach. So that's how I got here without using any foam and plastic. So that's a little story. And I see that you guys made some progress, so that's awesome. If you haven't put your hypericums in yet, go ahead and do that. I just like to randomly spread it out to give a little different texture to the arrangement. Okay. And you can make them a little to pop out a little. You can place them a little bit deeper in the arrangement. Again, totally up to you and the way you like it. And I'm about to place my last one. And there we go. We have a Passover centerpiece. So how are you guys doing? It looks great. And if you can, when you're all done, if you can share your flower arrangements, I would really love to see them. And I'm sure the rest of our participants would like to see.
Irina, for the last ones that we put in, do you like when they stick out more? Should we be having them protrude?
Yeah, I like them sticking out a little more, because then the arrangement doesn't look like a ball. I like it to be a little more airy. So yeah, but again, totally up to you. Some florists put them, make a rounder, smoother arrangements. Some like it airier. So whatever style you like. And I'm going to wet this.
If anyone's done, give me a wave and I can spotlight your, okay, I'm gonna go to Shoshana first. Beautiful.
Wow. Awesome.
Lovely. And I
Looks
saw
great.
Anne. You want me to spell yours, Anne? Yeah, okay, hold on. There you go.
Wow. That is so nice. Well, now you guys are professional florists.
Debbie, I'm on you now.
Awesome. This looks
Can
great.
I just say thank you so much? This was
Oh, you're
so much fun.
very welcome.
And I know
This was so
it's
nice.
so not professional looking what I've done, but I really enjoyed myself and totally
No,
relaxed.
it looks really good. Yeah, and
I
There's
now we
like a
can.
zen. There's a zen about doing flowers or something. I don't know. but
I
it's so-
honestly
so nice.
don't even care what it looks like. I just relax. Thank you.
100%. I feel the same way. Like my heart rate went down. It's
Agreed.
amazing.
Rena,
agree
these
also.
flowers are so beautiful. They really stayed
Thank
so
you.
nicely. Like they're just gorgeous flowers, really.
Thank you. I'm so
I
happy you
agree.
guys
This
like
was
them.
really nice to do, really nice and relaxing, and it's
Ah.
beautiful.
Well, I hope we can do that again.
Yeah, I think this was
Yeah.
such a good idea.
Yeah.
100%. This was lovely.
I've
I
always,
want to ask before everybody goes off, I want to make sure if you are willing, take a photo with yourself and the arrangement, send it to me. You can text it to me or you can email it to me. I'll put both in the chat. I'd love to put it up on our social medias. If you're willing, send me something. And we love to see faces. So put your face in there.
Yeah. And if you guys are posting something on social media, I would be very thankful if you could tag me so I can also share it on my social media and show what beautiful creations you did today.
thank you for
Well,
the
Irina,
confidence.
thank you. This was wonderful. So I usually like to stay on. So if anybody wants to chat or say anything else or have any more questions for Irina, we'll stick around for a few minutes.
I wanted to say this is a great idea and we should do it for every holiday. Looking forward to it.
For sure.
You know,
I love that idea.
and the flowers are beautiful.
Yeah, they're stunning.
They're beautiful.
Thank you
Thanks,
all
Irina.
so
This was
much.
wonderful.
You know what?
Great
Guys, just one more
activity.
thing I remembered I didn't tell you. So how to change the water in this, right? Because it's all loose. So you just take the arrangement like this from both ends to make sure you hold everything, and then you pick it up, pour it out, and put fresh water, and then you put them back. That's all. That way.
How long can we expect it to stay looking like this, or pretty much like this?
Oh, it's hard to tell because it all depends on the temperature at home. Just keep them away from direct sunlight or drops. Change water every couple of days and add the flower food as long as you have it. And yeah, hopefully with hydrangeas, it's very hard to predict because they are very temperamental. Sometimes they last for 1-2 weeks easily. Sometimes they don't. So yeah, really hard to tell.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. This was awesome.
I'm so happy you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you so much, Irina.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Irina. This was great.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cora, for
Hug
arranging
Sameach,
it all.
everybody.
Of course.
Thank you,
Hag
Irina.
Sameach.
Thank you. It was amazing.
You're very
Everybody
welcome.
enjoy Pesach.
I love seeing everybody sitting with their flowers. It's very pretty.
We don't want to clean. Can we just sit? Nobody else.
Exactly.
Thank you all. Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Irina, I don't know if you're seeing all of the chats, but everybody's saying how
no.
wonderful it is and how great this program was.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, no, I can't see it, but I'm happy that you told me.
Yeah, lots and lots of them.
Yay.
Okay. Nice to see everybody. Gail, I love yours. I like it right in the corner there. I know you wanted to show yours off. I had a bunch of hands being raised.
No,
at the
no,
same
it's
time.
all good. I'm really happy with this. This was great. Thank you so much.
All right, well,
You're
Chag
welcome.
Sameach, everybody. Have a wonderful
Chag
Passover.
Sameach.
You too. You too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.